Hello, and welcome to this new stream about Camunda and how we actually will build some kind of alerting system for the fire brigade. Welcome first of all, and let me elaborate a bit about the overall nature of this project. So as some of you might already know, I'm working on the voluntary fire brigade here in Germany. And it's quite often the case that we suddenly get some kind of emergency. The bell is ringing, there's an alert, and we need to leave ASAP. And in order to simply have a better communication with the company, such as Camunda, or with people or relatives that care about you, I want to build some kind of alerting systems, which then triggers a notification, for instance in Slack, messaging everybody in your team that you are now out of office due to some kind of emergency, or for instance your girlfriend or your family members. Additionally, I also want to try capturing the time I'm away, since of course in Germany the government will then reimburse the company for that time you are gone. So that's kind of my use case, and I now want to build some kind of process in order to automate this kind of messaging, so I can trigger or push a button and right away all messages are going to be sent out. And this all should be covered in some kind of process. So let's start right away, and I have prepared a little screen share. So let's switch right here so you can see my tablet, and I'm going to use this as kind of a place in order to draft my idea I was talking about. So let's start off with some kind of user. So that's me, basically, happy as always, and suddenly there's some kind of alert going on and I need to run away. So basically the best thing I can do is to just run to be there at the fire station first of all. Okay, so once I've achieved, or once this happens, I want to somehow trigger such kind of process which then notifies all the relevant people. And therefore I was thinking about building some kind of buzzer which I can then easily hit, and this buzzer triggers some kind of process. And within this process I will first of all send various messages to people. For instance, let's do something like this, dependent on the time maybe. So let's just note this down. Maybe there are differences depending on the time in the process. Differences. Just to keep this in our mind, then we can have some kind of send task right here, and another one or send event right here, and this will then message the company, and the other one will message my family members. And of course we do need to somehow measure the time, how long I was actually gone. So let's just put in here some kind of service task which then measures the time. Awesome. And then at a certain place and time we will then end our process. So that's the very easy solution to my problem I do have in my mind, and now we'll try to build something out of it. So this will be the intention of the stream, and that's what I try to figure out here. And hopefully you will follow me on my Camunda journey and discover how this tool works and whether it suits for such kind of idea. And of course, the best possibility is that this doesn't only apply to me, but I can also onboard other people who can then reuse the same process with their own kind of family member contact information or company contact information, and then we can onboard multiple people on the same solution. So as mentioned, I will use Camunda in order to solve this problem, and therefore we are basically going to use the tool called Camunda Cloud, and that's hosted, as the cloud says, in the cloud. So it's a SaaS solution provided by the vendor, and that's kind of the easiest way to get started with it. And my idea was to have this little buzzer, and this little buzzer we do have right here contains some kind of microcontroller. So maybe we'll have an Arduino in here, or if we are going quite extreme, we can also think about a Raspberry Pi. So that's the, and additionally we are then going to trigger via Wi-Fi. So this kind of little device is the Wi-Fi device. We are going to trigger our, now I need to draw a cloud, which is complicated. So right here we do have some services, and our Camunda processes. So that's kind of the very rudimental architecture I was thinking about to solve this problem. Awesome. Having mentioned that, we can now go and take a look on how this can be achieved with Camunda Cloud. But first of all, let me quickly tidy up my space. Can't work with the tablet on my desk. And yeah, then let's take a look on Camunda Cloud, or on the Camunda Cloud console. Yeah, I already logged in. You can also get a free trial for this product, and right in here you can see that I do have an organization. There are a few templates or examples right here I could start with in order to get familiar with the tooling, which is always a very great way to start. But for now we'll concentrate on modeling a diagram. So let's go into this tab. You can see I've already created one or two tabs, but now I will just create a new one, and let's call this our emergency notification process. Awesome. So we've got it right here, and now we can start a model. BPMN, for those of you who do not know yet, is a standardized modeling language for business processes. So it's quite common and not too complicated to understand. That's kind of the good thing. And even without any IT knowledge, you can just start using it and understanding what I'm trying to build here. So of course this is some kind of start event, so that's the start of our process, and afterwards it's usually followed by some kind of activity. Around these two elements we also have our process pool, which simply shows what's what's the scope of our overall process here. So let's give it a name, and also it's the emergency notification process. So that's awesome. And then we do have some kind of trigger. So when do we want to start the process? So I would say, since we have already talked about the buzzer previously, I'm going to say, hey, let's trigger this process if the alert buzzer is triggered. And once that's done, or maybe we can also say, hey, the alert is coming or triggering the process as some kind of message over REST or over gRPC, so some kind of messages showing up in our system. And afterwards we are going to have some kind of activity, so we can decide on we can decide on how should I notify, or which people should be notified. Let's put it this way. So let's have a decide on who to notify. And yeah, we are going to have this as a so-called business rule task. And a business rule task uses another standard called DMN. So that's a decision table. And depending on date and time, so for instance, during night, I do not want to notify anyone from my company. So I'm just going for my family members to notify them. And depending on these kind of rules, I'm then going to either notify everyone or only my family members. So that's my idea about it. Awesome. Okay, what else do we got here? As mentioned previously, we also need to track the time. So I want to have the possibility that I can see how long I've been on some kind of emergency mission. And therefore I'm just going to create another task. This time it's going to be a service task in order to capture time and date. Awesome. And after that's done, we can now speed up things and parallelize our process. As I've shown you previously in the very raw draft, we can now send like a mail or send kind of notification to our family and friends via Telegram or WhatsApp. And that's also kind of a send task we are talking about. And additionally, we are going to use another parallel event, because for our company I do need to notify my team, the developer relations team, and notify the back office. And we are also talking about these kind of send tasks right here. So that's pretty awesome. I'm going to use some kind of merging gateway in here, and yeah, let's take a look whether this already satisfies our needs for the process. So yeah, when stepping through here, we can easily see that we do have the decision up front. So we need to decide whom to actually notify, and we do not always want to notify everyone. So having modeled it that way, we do have this output of this decision, but we just don't care about it. So we still notify everyone. So now we need to introduce some kind of exclusive gateway or exclusive gateways in order to route our sequence flow properly. So let's add some space here and add some space here, and we can now say let's add an exclusive gateway right there. Having done so, I will just do some drag and drop magic, so it will get a bit more transparently, and we'll connect these two gateways as well. Awesome, so that looks way better, and now we also need to add some kind of description right here. So let's say, should the company be notified, and that's either a no or it's a yes. Awesome. I will just remove these warnings here. We'll try to resolve them later on, but for now let's only focus on our process in here. So great. After we have now sent out all the messages, we need to think about how to continue with our process. Maybe let's quickly save in between. That's always a good thing. And yeah, to continue, I would say let's wait until I'm coming back from my mission, and therefore we are going to use some kind of event, let's say message event. So I can imagine after having triggered the buzzer first time when I'm going on a mission, and when I come back I'm triggering it on a second time, so it's like hey, I'm back again, and after having done so I can now collect or calculate the time differences from the first timestamp we've created previously. So let's have another service task and say calculate time difference, and right here we can say buzzer triggered back from mission. Oh no. Awesome. And of course now we need to notify all the people once again. So similar to what we've done just previously, we need to say, hey, I'm back again. So like an all clear notice, I'm still alive, everything is fine. So once again we do have some kind of parallel gateway. We are going up to notify our family members and friends. Oh, let's call it give all clear. Let's put it in like this. It's also a sending task, and we are also going to make use of a notification for my team. So once again we are having exclusive gateway, more or less 2 exclusive gateways right here, which is then also used for merging. So I'm just rebuilding what we've already done before, and starting from here we are going to use a parallel gateway, which now gives an all clear to the DevRel team, and we are also going to use the same for the back office. And we need to add the timestamps here when I was gone. So that's pretty important. And of course we need to have a send task here as well before merging our flows into a parallel gateway once again, and then going back up to our exclusive one. And since this looks pretty ugly, we are going just to move things a bit around, something like this. Looks way nicer. Maybe a bit more. Awesome. So that's already very beautiful. And having done so, we are basically finished with our process. So we can now end it, as you can see right here. So that's kind of an end event. And now the notification have been transmitted successfully. Awesome. So that is the process we are talking about, and as you can see, it's a bit more complex than we have seen previously and drawn on my tablet. So yeah, that's pretty interesting to see. Now the only thing we need to take care about is to implement all the things in here and to start working on automating our process. So timeline-wise, my plan is to take care about the process itself first of all. So what I will do is try building a decision table. I will try building a service task, notifying everyone over Telegram or WhatsApp. And only after I've managed to do this, I try to build some kind of buffer with a microcontroller triggering this kind of workflow. Cool. So yeah, maybe as mentioned, we can also take a look on a few other things in our Camunda Cloud modeler right here. So as said, we do have still some errors and warnings going on. That's because we, for instance, haven't referenced, let's get in here, we haven't referenced the, the task definition. So we would need to enter some type here in order to really have this automated, but that's basically what we are going to do during the next phase. And let's also have a look on the token simulation. That's always pretty cool to see. So we can say it's night, for instance. It's, yeah, these are always kind of triggered the same. So let me, oh no, give me a second. Let me copy this over. So this decision is dependent on the same kind of decision. So the exclusive gateway is depending on the same decision. Once again, we do have a no here and a yes here. And now let's take a look on the token simulation, because that's always a great possibility to explain BPMN or how the process overall works. So imagine we are now in the middle of the night. We do not want to notify the company, so our process should look like this, and we've triggered or changed the way this exclusive gateway behaves. So we can start a process instance going on emergency, notify my family members via Telegram. I'm already kind of or we are going to wait here until I'm back, and when I'm back, this kind of message receives, and then the process continues this way down. Wow, this looks awesome. And now we can also simulate or try to visualize ourselves on a workday. So as you can see, we are going now to split up the token 3 times more or less, and we are going to wait until all 3 tokens are back, until we wait till the buzzer is triggered the second time. So when I will then arrive, I trigger it, and we are going to continue this way down, have calculated the time differences, and then send all the messages back in our Slack channels, in WhatsApp, to work colleagues or to family members, and then our process is finished. Awesome. So that seems quite promising from a process design point of view. So now let's take a look on how to solve these errors in here. So first of all, we do have kind of the start event. The start event needs to have a message reference. So message, let's say alert incoming. So that's now our message name and message reference. Continuing, we now have a business rule task, and there we need to rely on similar kind of service tasks. So we just say decision table worker. That's what we are going to trigger. So we do have a service task, so service is triggered. We will implement the service later on, and yeah, this service who will be triggered is from the type decision table worker. Going on, we now have the capture time worker, and I'm going to also set 3 retries, so in case there are some kind of network latencies or network outages, we'll try it 3 times before giving up on them. Yeah, so we do have some kind of output from this decision table, so maybe let's just define an output variable here, and we want to call it how should we call it? Everyone notified. And yeah, so we do have the variable everyone notified, and it's either correct or wrong. And right in here we can now add a condition, and it will be everyone notified equals true, or everyone notified equals false. Awesome. And having added that, you can also see those 2 problems disappear right here as well. Yeah, let's continue. We need to add some kind of task definitions for here. So this will be notify via WhatsApp, or let's say Telegram, or let's only say notify Telegram worker. Down here we have notify mail worker, and right here we do have notify Slack worker. So up here we'll send a Telegram message, down here we are going to send a mail, and last but not least we are going to notify someone via Slack. Continuing, we now have this additional message event, so we need to have a new message, and that's, let's call it message mission over. Awesome. That looks great. And we also need some correlation key. Oh no. And let's say that's mission. We'll take care about this later on. I need to explain a bit about it. Yeah, going over to calculate the time difference, we also need to set the time. Calculate time difference. Let's go this way, and as you might already know, we need to fill in the expression for our exclusive gateway, or the condition for our exclusive gateway right here. So let's have it like this, false, and right here it's true. And as you might already know, same story right here. So task definition type notify. Let me check what I wrote down here. Notify Telegram worker, and there we'll do have also the notify Telegram worker And right here we do have the notify mail worker. And down there we do have the notify Slack worker. Awesome. And now we don't have any more errors or warning, so that's perfect. Having done so, we can now deploy this whole process to our workflow machine inside of Camunda Cloud. So let's save and deploy everything. We do have some kind of development cluster right here, so I'm going to deploy it there. And oh no, it has failed. And now let's figure out why this has failed. Because it seems like a correlation key must be present. So let's say we are going to somewhere have a business key, and we are going to use this as a correlation key. Now let's try to deploy it once again, and it's still not correct. So what does it tell us? Oh, I completely messed up my expressions. So for every expression we need to have some equal sign. That's the reason why we are having problems here. That's good to know that it's not covered within this checker up here. So let's try again. Hopefully I have now considered everything, and no, but it gets less. That's awesome. What have I forgotten? Okay. This one also must be some kind of expression, and now it should work. Come on, yeah, diagram deployed. That's awesome. And after having deployed this diagram, we can now also move to our tools which come with Camunda Cloud. So maybe let's go to the landing page right here. We can take a look on the cluster we have created. So that's our dev cluster for the region Europe West. And in here you can see all the different applications we do have included to Camunda Cloud. And that's a tool called Operate. It's a tool called Task List, and it's a tool called Optimize. So let's take a look on all three of them, starting with Operate. And Operate shows us there are some running process instances. Awesome, that's interesting. And yeah, these are the ones you have seen previously in my diagram sections as well. So I created a few models previously as well, and that's our emergency notification process. And as you might remember, I've just deployed this process to our engine, and Operate makes it possible to take a look on the process. And yeah, we are currently in version 1. There aren't any instances yet because we haven't started one. That's kind of obvious. And yeah, we can now monitor and take a look on the runtime view of our process through Operate. That's typically used also to troubleshoot the automation. So if something bad happens, incidents are thrown here, I can take them or can take a look at them and try to resolve them. Task List is another tool which simply shows human tasks to me. So for instance, like my decide on recipe one coming from another kind of business process. But basically in this process we do not have any user tasks, so we are not going to rely on task lists at all. So let's just close this down, and we are continuing with Optimize. Optimize is a tool for process analysis. So we do have, for instance, a recipe process collection, which is the other process you haven't seen, but now maybe let's take a quick look in here, and I can see that's our process. How long does it take for him to complete, so on and so forth. So Optimize gives me personally great opportunity to then monitor how long does some kind of emergency usually take, and whether I can map this onto certain other things, or see whether it's daytime specific or whether there are any correlations. That's pretty interesting. Awesome. Yeah, these are basically our tools we do have in here, and now we need to start writing some code in order to automate, or to start and automate our process in here. But that's actually something I would like to do in our next episode, in our next stream. So this has been a quite short one, only about 40 minutes, which isn't too big. But yeah, next time I will maybe try to actually do it tomorrow, and then we are getting started with it and automate this process using Java and Spring Boot. Yeah, cool. So thanks a lot for watching, and see you later.